from Amy Spindle Spun Yarn, and I wanted to show you some fiber preparation that I've kind of discovered. There are other YouTubers out there that have kind of touted this method, and you can read about like hot water treating your combed top in different spinning magazines like Spin Off. However, I wanted to take it a step further and show you some techniques to do after steaming. So if you'll just take a look at this combed top. It's a milled combed top. This is white Corriedale, and it is from Kamaj Fiber Arts. And the owner of Kamaj, Mary Egbert, actually wrote a book about scouring wool. So we know that this was treated relatively gently in the mill, as far as mills are concerned. Still has a vague sheepy odor to it, but it is clean, minimal veg matter in it, so it's just a really good quality combed top. However, because of going through the machines, it's kind of compacted, it's lifeless, and it's fairly straight. You can kind of sort of see crimp in it, but you know, most of the crimp really was straightened out in processing. And then on top of that, it was kind of compacted into this bag here. What I've got on me is about 3 ounces, and in the bag was an entire pound of combed top. So I'm just going to kind of show you how you can add a little bit of life into your combed top. And I'm actually going to turn this way. So I've got a tea kettle steaming. And I just want you to like watch as the steam sort of makes it fluff. You can already see it fluffing up a bit. And I'll flip it over, do the other side. You gotta be careful to keep your fingers out of the way because this steam will burn you. Alright? See how that end is fluffed up a bit already? Now you just kind of move over to the next section. And I'm going to go like a section down where you can really see how compacted it was. So what the steam does, the heat from the steam kind of helps the scales on the fiber to open up, and that helps to reinstate twist, which is essentially what you're doing whenever you set your yarn. Notice how it's fluffing up? I turn it over and it looks really soft and fluffy, doesn't it? And basically it just takes a few seconds for each section. But I'm going to be doing this across the entire 3 ounces of fleece. You know, one of the things that I kind of like about it, doing this, is at first you think you may not have all that much material to spin. But then after you fluff it up, like just compare the part that's been steamed to what's not been steamed. I mean, once it's fluffed up, you realize, ooh, I got a lot here. I got a lot of stuff to work with. And another thing that happens when you reintroduce crib into your fiber, it also introduces grab, which some spinners find makes it a little bit easier. Now, personally, I tend to prefer a little bit more slippery fiber because that's kind of what I learned on. It's like the more slippery combed top. But I do find that with the fibers like being able to separate easier, in some respects it's actually easier to get an even spin on this. So one of the reasons I prefer steaming it as opposed to soaking it in hot water as some people do is steam does not take as long a time to dry. In fact, the end that I've already steamed that I'm holding in my hand is actually already dry. So it's really in the long run a time saver overall. And another thing is when you do a hot water soak, you are at an increased risk for felting. Whereas this steam treatment here is really minimal agitation. So even though you're opening up the fibers, you're not necessarily, you know, subjecting it immediately to freezing cold air and causing it to felt. And you're certainly not moving it around a lot. So that's one of the reasons I really prefer steaming as opposed to soaking it in hot water. I just feel like it's less risky, at least for your fiber anyway. Alright, so here is my floofed up combed top, or at least it's, for most part, yeah, it's pretty floofed. My husband actually had to finish it because my son soiled his diaper, and my husband was like, you take care of that. So I can see a few places where it's still slightly compacted, so I'm going to like hold it over the remainder of this steam here. I'm kind of a perfectionist, I guess you could say. I don't think that steam is very hot because I told him to go ahead and turn it off. But that's okay. It may not floof up anymore, which is fine. Can work with it like that. I suspect what happened was you forgot to get both sides, huh? My husband's actually the one holding the camera. He's actually done some professional videography, so before he met me. So, shout out to my husband, Austin. He's over there grinning. True cameraman, totally silent, even when I acknowledge him. Okay, I'm not going to wait for this to like completely heat back up for me, so whatever floofing this is going to do, this is going to do it. Alright, so anyways, now I would like to draw your attention over to the table. Normally I like to make certain it's completely dry before doing this part, because there's actually a pretty damp spot right here. So, it was hanging in front of the window, which is normally how I dry it, but there were some extenuated circumstances. So at this point, I want to divide it into like 3 separate ounces because I want to make it into 3-ply eventually. But yeah, look how thick that is. A little scarf, the fur. Anyways, so I'm going to try to find the middle. And I think the middle is right here, where my hand is. So what I want to do is kind of keep a hand there, or like keep my eyeballs there anyway. And I want to fold that so that it kind of meets in the middle. And man, this has floofed out a lot. See, you have no idea how much fiber you actually have until you steam it and bring it back to life. It almost looks like a carded back now instead of combed top. But it's still combed. So this fold here is where I want to break it. And all that extra floofing should make that a fairly easy process. So next, I did not measure out the way I wanted it to. Maybe it would have been better for me to measure out an ounce. I'm still trying to figure out how to get perfectly even amounts of fiber for a 3-ply yarn. Because folding into thirds is really difficult, guys. So now I've got to figure out how to get it more even. What I might do, let me turn this on and see how many ounces this is. Probably not even an ounce. A little over half an ounce. So I just need about a half an ounce more to make it an even ounce. And I found a wet spot. Right here. Alright. And if I add this in, it should be an ounce. Yes, it's exactly an ounce. Good. Alright, I'm going to hang this up over the window for now to let it continue to finish drying and sort of floofing out. It's a nice sunny day. There's a cat and 2 dogs out. Anywho. Now this I know I can just fold in half and like break it right in the middle, because I know that that over there is 1 ounce, which should be 1/3 of this. So if I break these 2 in half, they should each measure out to 1 ounce. Whoops. It's about 1/10 of 1 ounce more than 1 ounce. That's fine. And that one is exactly 1 ounce. So I'm going to hang these floofs, these floofy floofs, back over the window and kind of allow them to finish drying. And I'm going to take this 1/2 ounce here, and I'm going to show you one of the things that I've discovered. And you may have already noticed it in the filming of this video, but I'm going to sit down for this. So, can you see this all right? Alright, so if you'll notice, the combed top is actually kind of folded in half, so you can actually unfold your comb top. And the thing that steaming does is all it does is it reinstates crimp back into the fibers, so your wool is going to be in more of a natural state, but it doesn't necessarily decompact it. So that's one of the reasons I'm actually kind of unrolling it, and now it looks more like a carded bat than a combed top. But apparently what happens is in the machines, you know, all the fiber is kind of running through the machines flat, and then there's kind of an orifice that all the fiber is like dragged through, and it basically rolls it up into this top. So when you're floofing and you're trying to pre-draft, one of the things you might want to do is actually unroll it and be able to kind of fluff it a little bit more this way. It's like, how fluffy can we possibly get this? You know, I've already fluffed it up so much, and it's just so big, and there's so much fiber here. It's really spectacular, and it's fun, and it's soft, and it's floofy. That's what we fiber artists love, is floof. But, you know, even after steaming, it is still technically compacted and compressed, and that can actually make drafting kind of difficult. So what you definitely want to end up doing is just sort of fluffing it up like this. And from here you have like several options. The way I have been spinning up my things is I'll just take the whole thing and kind of pre-draft it into a long strip. But you'll notice that because it's, you know, been through teeth, it kind of wants to divide into these little strips anyway. And I might experiment. Well, let me just show you the way that I've been doing it, and then I can just take the smaller piece and kind of experiment with that off camera. Because you didn't come here to see my experiments, you came to see my discoveries. And I don't know if all mills work this way and like basically fold up their comb tops when they come through. I just know that the one, I just kind of discovered that about this comb top. It came from Kamaj Fiber Arts, and I'm going to try to leave a link to that in the description and below. And right now I'm trying to figure out which of these ends is going to draft easier by kind of pulling on them both. See, this one has a bit more grab, so this one's going to be easier to draft. So I'm just going to lightly pre-draft now that it's, you know, been unfolded and thoroughly floofed. And it just drafts so much easier. And the nice thing about reinstating the crimp is that with the extra grab, it's less likely to like fall apart on you, even if you do accidentally draft a little too much. And you'll find that as you're pre-drafting, it's almost like the fiber gets thicker as you go along. that's alright. It's alright. It's part of the fun. Part of the fun and the joy of fiber arts. Because once you've got it thoroughly pre-drafted, you can actually go back and kind of even out the thick parts. Another thing that's going on lately is we actually just got through a power outage because of some winter storms, and tomorrow we're supposed to have another winter storm which is supposed to bring more power outages. So this is going to be a really interesting time. I'm not sure when this video will be officially posted. I'm going to try to have it up, before the end of February. Because I like to have at least a couple of videos on YouTube per month. I know the algorithm prefers like weekly videos, but because I have a little munchkin that you can probably see and hear in the background walking in his daddy's slipper right now, and I've also got another little munchkin on the way, it's just too much for me to keep up with like weekly videos and stuff. And the easiest time for me to make videos is like when my husband is home. So, yeah. That is a pre-drafted combed top. And I can look for like thick parts. But actually, I think this came out fairly evenly for most part. I think there's a thick part right there. Because the more even you're pre-drafting, the easier it'll be to make an even yarn. And pre-drafting in some sense kind of helps to hold everything together too. So yeah. Whoops. I need to like fix that. Alright, but anyways, I'm going to just make this a nest for now, and eventually I'm going to put it on one of my homemade distaffs. Anyways, I hope that you've learned something from this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, and give this a try. Next time you get a comb top, see if you can like unfold it and open it up and see what you can do to make just the whole process a little bit easier. I've never seen in another video where somebody says, hey, you can actually unfold your comb top. So I don't know if this is unique to Kamaj Fiber Arts comb tops. You can get them in like, little ounce or 4 ounce bundles. In my case, I got a pound. She also offers like 22-pound bumps. Floof. So definitely check out Kamaj. I will leave I'll leave a link to her website in the description box below. And I'm not affiliated with her. I don't have any affiliate links. At the moment, my YouTube channel is not monetized, although I'm hoping that as more people view and subscribe, hint, hint, wink, wink, I'll be able to monetize it and hopefully be able to fuel my addiction even more. Anyways, that's pretty much all for now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new, and I hope this makes your fiber adventures a little bit easier. And until next time, happy crafting and God bless.